Chris with NoLimitSquad, your personal Isochain and fitness vlogging channel. Today's going to be more of Isometric and Isochain because we're going to talk about periodization mesocycle. What the hell is that, right? Let's go into this. Alright, the first reason I want to go over this is because I actually ran into this on my own, only to find out that Paul Wade talked about it in the isometric manual, and I was like, oh, okay, now I just have to make a video on it. I mean, it's too good not to. Now, let's talk about it. First, let's cover what periodization is, because I don't think I've covered that on the channel yet. So periodization is setting aside different cycles of the training year to fully commit to that goal. So for example, on a cycle, we're trying to get power. Another cycle, we're trying to get speed. Another cycle, we're trying to focus on hypertrophy. And apparently, one of the popular methods the Soviets used was to use the isometric training as one of the cycles to building elite level isometric strength. Now, before I go into this, what does this already sound like to some of y'all on the squad? You know what this sounds like? This sounds like what I was talking about in that one video after the 6x6, where I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna use this after I come off of a workout program. So my programs are usually 6 to 8 weeks long, and then before I'm transitioning into the next one, we could use this and maybe do a month or whatever time frame that we want to use to kind of build up elite levels of isometric strength and then go into the next weightlifting program. I was like, yo, I really think this is legit. And then go figure, it's there. Page 443, by the way, if you're wondering. So essentially, we're training isometrics hard AF for only 4 to 8 weeks. So I think I told y'all, I kind of like 6. 8 is like almost like that. All right, man, I'm starting to get kind of tired of this crap. You know, Isochain, weightlifting, whatever. You know, I don't know, maybe that's just me. I get bored with stuff after a while, so I gotta change stuff up. If you're like that too, comment down below. If we haven't performed isometrics for several months, we will gain strength incredibly fast. Based off of all the stuff that we've learned on the channel so far, in addition to what's in the manual and other forms of literature on isometric training, this makes sense. Yeah, it's gonna skyrocket if we haven't touched it for a while. It's also keeping in mind that it's not like the strength just dipped once you cycle off the isometric training. We're using that as a springboard into the next level of weightlifting. So now we're weightlifting at a higher tier, using the Isochain as a cycle for 4 to 8 weeks, skyrocket the strength, hitting a higher tier. This sounds like some elite level shit, and it makes sense to me. It makes sense on paper, and I don't see why that wouldn't work. It's so funny we came to the same conclusion. In fact, legendary coach Bill Starr, a lifelong champion of isometrics, was out here teaching his squad how to do the same thing. Almost feel like when you run into somebody that knows about this, they're kind of like enlightened. So pretty much just as the diminishing return starts to set in near the end of the previous cycle, instead of varying up our isochain and isometric routine to make more gains, all we gotta do is simply just stop entirely and move to the next phase of the periodization plan. AKA go back to your weightlifting, but see how you feel after that. Now the book is recommending, all right, check this out, after 6 months or a year, go back to the isometrics. You're gonna be fresh, keep on repeating, and you're gonna catapult your strength to higher and higher levels each time. This makes sense to me. This makes total sense. With our body's adaptations to the strength gains in the Isochain, and plus what I've experienced and my clients have experienced already, this makes sense to me. That last part was actually suggested by, hopefully I'm not butchering the name, Pavel Satsaline. If I butchered your name, dude, I apologize. Now, me personally, I'm gonna throw my own spin on it. Now, I don't know everything, and neither does anyone else. But I probably wouldn't stretch it out that far to 6 months to a year. And the only reason I say that, then the only reason, is because of all the benefits that isometric training gives us. I don't think that it's in our best interest to let it go that long and start not losing out necessarily, but I guess we almost would be missing out on all the, you know, the bulletproofing and the other fantastic benefits that come along with isometric training. We just be giving that up for 6 months to a year in order to, you know, weightlift. And I really feel like isometric training is part of the entire piece of the puzzle. So what I'd recommend, and if you think something different, it's okay, comment down below, is that, listen, there's 52 weeks in a year. If we're going based off of 6-week programs. This is my style. I like 6 weeks. Some of y'all like to do 8. Some of y'all do 4. Hey, whatever floats your boat. I feel like doing 6 weeks weightlifting, cycle onto a month, so just 4 weeks of Isochain training, and then on to the next cycle of weightlifting, 6 to 8 weeks, 6 weeks, and then a month of Isochain training, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4. What is that gonna equal? It's 10. You're gonna be able to pull that off 5 times throughout the year. 10 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks. That's 50 weeks, 52 weeks in a year. 2 weeks to do whatever you want. If you would rather rest for those, you could also do that as well. So maybe every 6 months, you take a week to rest. That's also valid. Sometimes the body experiences fantastic growth by taking a week off. I think that that's a very valid way to utilize periodization mesocycle with the Isochain. Another way that we could do it is 2 ways. Going 8 weeks with 2 weeks of Isochain, or going 2 6 weeks in a row and then 6 weeks with Isochain. Whew! I could definitely see some fantastic gains either way, either of the 3 options. So I'm gonna lay it out right here so that you guys can see it. Here's option 1, which is the 6 and 4, 6 and 4, 6 and 4 for 50 weeks. Option 2, the 8 and 2, 8 and 2, 8 and 2, or option 3, 2 6s and a 6 for Isochain. So 2 6-week weightlifting programs followed by the 3rd cycle, which is going to be Isochain only to catapult the strength gains. You are going to see some insane athletes. Now, this is just another style of Isochain training. Regardless, we all know that training with this device is going to help us out so much. Though there's also something to be said for isometric training in general. If you want to phase out the Isochain and just talk straight up yielding, that's a video in and of itself. We're just talking about the Isochain for this. But what are your thoughts? I'd love to know what you're thinking about this type of training. I really think that Paul Wade was onto something, is, and I guess it's not too much of a coincidence I arrived at almost the same conclusion after doing that 6x6 challenge. So comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, go ahead and comment. And if you're not yet part of the squad, hit that subscribe button. Come join the squad with us. We'll see you next video. Peace.